All right, can I present this? Will that still work? It should. All right. Okay, so 2 questions. From easier to harder. You ready? All right, so this is all from 4.1. Remember we did relief? I even messed that up yesterday. We'll forget about that part. Which of the following is not a core value of the U.S. political culture? So some of these are not in that relief, but political culture, right? So we have legal equality, political equality, economic equality, freedom of religion or freedom of speech. Take 30 seconds, discuss with your people. All right, when I say go, you say the letter. 3, 2, 1, go. C, yay, good job. Okay, so legal equality and political equality being similar, it's not the same, but the idea that we're all equal before the law, right? We're supposed to be anyway, right? Freedom of religion, we know that is one of our rights that we consider to be fundamental. It's something that was even referred to in the hearings this week. We know about both the Establishment Clause and the Free Exercise Clause. It's debated, but we believe that everyone is free to be the religion of their choosing and things related to that. Freedom of speech, right? Also a core part of who we are as a people, a First Amendment right. We've seen cases go before the law concerning that as well. There are regulations on speech, right? But we still believe in the freedom of speech. Economic equality, I think it was Johnny I heard talking about, I'm not communist, right? So, right? But no, I'm glad you were thinking along those lines, right? Because economic equality, you might be like, well, yeah, that sounds right. But our value would be equality of opportunity, right? You have the equal opportunity to reach, your economic goals. That doesn't mean it will happen, right? It doesn't mean some people don't have more obstacles than others, right? So when we said, these are the core values, and I say, this is what Americans sort of embrace, regardless of ideology, meaning regardless if you're a Republican or Democrat or something along those lines, right? You're going to embrace free enterprise and law and order and individualism and equality of opportunity in different ways, but still to some degree, right? Economic equality, okay, you could be American who has communist values, right? But then you're just like an outlier, right? But as far as like American values go, right? Most people would embrace that. So I wanted to share, because I like to always bring it back to some of our founding and our documents. So economic equality would sort of run against the grain to free enterprise, right? So free enterprise is one of our values. The words free enterprise are not in the Constitution. You're not going to find it. You're not going to find it in the Declaration. You're not going to see an amendment about free enterprise. That doesn't mean that there was not a value at the time, right? So Thomas Jefferson, who really saw a big country, all this land out west, an agricultural country, being really, a good opportunity for free enterprise. That free enterprise can develop in a nation like that. Whenever president was he? Third, good. Right? So in his first annual message to Congress, the end of 1801, he wrote, agriculture, manufactures, commerce, and navigation, the 4 pillars of our prosperity, and has the most thriving when left most free to individual enterprise. So sort of even mixing individualism in there, right? People, if they can work on their own, can do amazing things. And then James Madison, who was president number 4. 5 was Monroe, another Virginian. So he wrote the address to the Agricultural Society of Albemarle, which is a county in Virginia. So I believe that's what it was from. The enviable condition of the people of the U.S. is often too much ascribed to the physical advantages of their soil and climate, right? Especially like Virginia, their soil and climate's made for all this stuff. But a just estimate of the happiness of our country will never overlook what belongs to the fertile activity of a free people and the benign influence of a responsible government. I mean, like a government not interfering, not getting in the way too much of that business. All right. Adam Smith, you should have learned a little bit about as a freshman, right? What are the roles of government? He wrote about like economics. Sound familiar? Right? He's not a president or anything, but ideals looked after, and really believed that natural liberty and free enterprise go hand in hand. All right, so the next question is a little bit more tricky. My classes last year had trouble with it, which is why I remembered. I said, ooh, this means I want to go over it with you guys. See that? Sometimes having a memory is good. All right. So, which of the following public policies is best supported by the notion of free enterprise? All right, you're like, we're not an economics class. All right, this is why we're talking about this. The government subsidizing the cost of milk, Congress passing legislation bailing out the auto industry, taxpayers funding a national high-speed railway service, or after a review, the Federal Trade Commission, FTC, approving a corporate merger of cable providers. Doesn't everyone hate cable providers? Yes. All right, take a few minutes. Take a minute. Take a minute and discuss. I hear good trains of thoughts going through. All right, when I say go, 3, 2, 1, go.
I didn't say anything. I just don't know.
It's D. It's D. Some people got it. Some people, if you got it, yay. All right, this is tricky. This is why we're doing this. All right, so the government subsidizing the cost of milk makes it easier for people to afford milk. That doesn't help free enterprise like government building or anything like that. It's just helping people, right? Congress passing legislation bailing out the automobile industry, that could be it, but like if you're bailing them out, free enterprise, you should just sort of let them fall under, right? Taxpayers funding a national high-speed railway service. Taxpayers fund lots of things. This is just to help infrastructure. It's not directly related. Is that it could be a public railway service, right? It's not really helping the business per se, specifically, but after review, the FTC approving a corporate merger of cable providers. So a bunch of companies want to merge. That's what they want to do. And the government says, yes, okay, you can do it.
Oh,
okay. Right. So, because there are some laws against certain monopolies, right? And over time, this has been debated. So I just wanted to show you real quickly. This article on the right is from the 60s, right? This is old. Mergers is a threat to free enterprise. The idea that they can, because mergers used to be like, okay, these 2 or 3 phone companies want to merge. But now companies might have their hand in all sorts of different things. And then if you're involved with like soap and food and auto parts, whatever, right? And you merge, then it can create some monopolies and some difficult things. So some people think mergers are not good to free enterprise because it makes it too hard for people to compete in that. But if the companies are doing what they want to do, that is free enterprise. So the U.S. government approves most proposed mergers. In a market-oriented economy, firms have the freedom to make their own choices. So what do they usually get to do? Expand or reduce production, how much they make, set the price they choose. Now there can be like price fixing regulations, like, you know, during the pandemic, if you were purposely increasing the cost of hand sanitizer, right? Then the government could be like, hey, that's not cool. Open new factories or sales facilities or close them. This gets tricky because often that involves overseas things, right? Hire workers or lay them off, or start selling new products or stop selling existing ones, right? Usually, like, you know, the government's not going to say like, hey, Nike, you have to stop selling sneakers and you got to sell something else, right? They make what they want. All right, any questions on this?
What do you mean by bailing out?
Bailing out, like giving them money or resources so that they don't go bankrupt. Yeah, good question. All right, so it is 10:51.